how you got into the tattooing industry.
Honestly, it was almost nearly by chance, which is a really weird thing to say because like so many people try for so long to try and get into the industry. They go begging for apprenticeships and it's the whole thing, and it almost kind of landed in my lap, which I'm so incredibly grateful for.
So, do handpoke tattoos age differently, or is that just a myth pushed by machine artists?
So it also depends on who's doing it. But there are people who can do it pretty much exactly the same as machine, and then there's other people who prefer their style to look more sort of rustic and have that kind of feel about it.
Well, what about aftercare?
Yeah, so aftercare is exactly the same, but the nice thing is it heals up faster. Like everything's just intimidating. I'm so like socially anxious and like just really introverted. These are just big scary men who look down on women and don't like doing small tattoos.
How do you know when you're ready, like to tackle, bigger work and more detailed work, and how do you know? Welcome everyone to another episode of the Mavi podcast. Today we have the lovely Katrina.
Hello.
And today we're going to be talking about her handpoke journey. So tell us a little about how you got into the tattooing industry.
Honestly, it was almost nearly by chance, which is a really weird thing to say because like so many people try for so long to try and get into the industry. They go begging for apprenticeships and it's the whole thing, and it almost kind of landed in my lap, which I'm so incredibly grateful for. But essentially happened to meet you at a house party, funnily enough, and we got to talking and you were telling me kind of about this new venture you were starting, which is a Mavi.
Yeah, at the time I was looking for people, and it was just kind of all stars kind of aligned whenever we kind of met,
Yeah, pretty much, because you were like I just need someone kind of reception sort of manager sort of role.
At the same time, I seen your artwork, and I seen you had a lot of potential, and I did say that you'd make a really good tattoo artist.
I don't know,
like see all your artwork on your walls, it was fantastic. Like so,
thank you.
Yeah, no, you have real talent.
Yeah, I'm in the right job then. Almost.
Yeah, you really are.
But to be fair, going into the tattoo art industry, it wasn't something that I ever really like planned to do. Like I said, like growing up, obviously extremely interested in art. It was kind of all I was pretty much known for. And then I was gonna go and study art in uni, and I was just like, I went to the open day and was just like, it's gonna make me hate art. I'm not doing this to myself. Like this is not my crowd. This is not like
studying art and doing art.
Very different.
Yeah.
Like
education, like kind of draws all the life out of it, in my opinion.
And
but
I can technically vouch for that because I went and studied English and sociology instead. Haven't really read a book since.
No way.
So I mean, I still love reading. It's definitely not to the level that I would have done in the past. But then again, I also don't have any free time because I now have an amazing job. But no, like anytime I like thought about like tattoo studios and stuff like that, obviously I'd gotten a few tattoos as well, and like everything's just intimidating, like really intimidating. And like I'm not as bad as I used to be, but I'm so like socially anxious and like just really introverted, and I was like, that is just not gonna be an environment that I'm gonna be able to kind of be in. It's not something that I would be able to do, although like I would absolutely adore tattooing people and actually putting art on skin. And I was like, I don't think my personality is made for that job. And then
did you think at the time that the tattoo scene was still all like bikers and
I mean yes and no. Obviously it wasn't that big, but like even like tattoos that I had gotten in other studios, it was still a bit like, oh, these are just big scary men who look down on women and don't like doing small tattoos. And it's just like you don't feel wanted there, and you feel like an inconvenience trying to give them money, which is mental. Like
yeah.
Because I remember the first tattoo I got, like I went in and he was just like, it was this like teeny tiny thing, which fair enough, like it was probably annoying for him to do, but like he didn't even stencil it. He just got a ballpoint pen, did it, and went, there you go.
Oh, that's so old school.
And like it wasn't like, to be fair, I commend the other people in that studio though, because the other staff could see how uncomfortable I was with like the way he was getting on and stuff. So they were coming over and like, oh, that's so cute, like I like that and all, and they kind of just giving him looks, being like, what the fuck are you doing, mate? But yeah, so it's still like even going into tattoo studios as a client, I was like, it's just it's
That kind of
scary
put you off it in
a
a
little
way.
bit, yeah. But then obviously starting here, I mean, the start was a bit slow. Not even
Yeah,
slow. It was just
we just didn't know whether we were going to make it or not.
pretty much,
But
yeah.
we've talked about the story in
Yeah,
the
but
first five
it's just
episodes.
like the environment that was created here. It's just like, oh, this isn't scary. Like,
Yeah.
it's just like a load of people who absolutely love art and they're drawn on skin and they want to make people feel good about it, which was amazing. So I'm so glad that I actually managed to find an amazing place to start my journey.
Well, you're kind of, a big influence on this as well, but you also seen the plans at the
Well,
beginning
yeah,
and you
of
kind of
course.
knew, what we were trying to build,
Hmm.
so
So yeah, kind of started working here, doing reception work and stuff like that, and at the same time, was just kind of gradually learning some things. I was just kind of like asking loads of questions, and it just kind of got to the point where like, okay, this is how you do everything. So it kind of just like snowballed into an apprenticeship, even though it wasn't my initial plan. But I'm so glad it did. So yeah, and then starting out, then obviously learned all my basics and stuff like that of how to do pretty much everything from like hygiene and all that there. And then I decided to give Handpoke a go.
yeah, it was quite unusual. I didn't think you would head down that route, but it was awesome that you did.
Yeah, no, it
But when it
definitely.
came to Handpoke, I was like, right, I'll teach you like all the hygiene side of things and how to set up and clean up and everything involved.
Hmm.
But when it came to actual sort of Handpoke techniques, you're kind of on your own on that because like I've never tried it, I've never done
Hmm.
it. So
Which honestly, I was kind of completely okay with. Just kind of left my own devices, sort of figuring stuff out, and I figured it out relatively quickly, I would say. And then obviously friends and family and stuff coming in, and then finally led to paying customers. But yeah, no, I just love how Handpoke looks, really, to be honest. Like, obviously, I do machine work as well, and I love that too. And just there are certain designs, say, that they'll come in, and I'm just like, have you considered getting this Handpoke? Because this is just gonna be a vibe, you know what I mean? Like, it just has that, like, soft, rustic sort of feel to it. And then, like, it also, like, it hurts less and it heats up faster, which is always a nice point.
yeah. Well, what's some of the misconceptions people still have about Handpoke tattoos?
Well, first of all, that hurts more. But I mean, I can kind of see that because sometimes you'll see videos of it and it does look kind of aggressive.
Yeah, it looks rough.
But like, it's not. It's like a lot of my clients would kind of be like, "Oh, it's almost like acupuncture in a way. Like it's really, really relaxing as opposed to sore. Like it doesn't feel like they're getting stabbed."
Well, I'd say it depends on the area because like
Does yeah.
you tattooed my ankle with the Handpoke method,
Ankle is
and
gonna be sore no matter what.
yeah, that was like very annoying kind of
Do you
pain,
know
but
what
it
I?
wasn't sore.
Do you know
It's
what
just annoying where it's like
I've oddly figured out? Men find it more painful.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, I kind of
Yeah.
get that because like females can withstand a wee more pain because their bodies are designed for childbirth, so I think their
Mm-hmm.
pain tolerance are naturally just a lot stronger than men.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, no, I'm horrible at getting tattooed, as you
Oh
know.
yeah, I'm well aware of that.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
still need to finish that sleeve. Gonna put that off as long as possible.
I know. We'll get around to it.
We'll get
I
around
was
to
just
it.
be so busy.
Yeah. But yeah, another myth I would say is a really big one that is really annoying. Is a lot of people will not necessarily. Well, actually, no, I would say kind of everybody. They don't really think it's a real tattoo, and think it's temporary. Especially tattoo artists as well will be really
Oh
off
yeah.
themselves about it and like, handbook's not a real tattoo, blah 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 blah. And you're like, it's
Yeah.
literally the original form of tattooing.
I remember the trend going around, like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, everyone was
Yeah.
just like, oh yeah, Handpoke's not real.
Yeah, a lot of people think it's like obviously. Sometimes they'll think hand poke and then they immediately go, oh, stick and poke done drunken at house parties, and you're like, although that is definitely a thing that happens, and I do have one of those myself.
Oh, no way, do you?
I do, yeah.
Okay, what's the story behind that?
It was drunk at a house party, funnily enough.
Oh, okay, yeah, no, that's pretty much it then.
That's pretty much it. That's the end of
Yeah.
the story. But yeah, it's there when done properly. Obviously, if you are kind of you don't know what you're doing and stuff like that, chances are it's gonna fade,
Hmm.
or it's gonna blow out, or it's gonna do whatever. But like, same goes for say if you decided to use a machine, not knowing what you're
Exactly.
doing. So like when it's done correctly, it can stand exactly the same test of time as a machine tattoo, which a lot of people seem to just shit on a little bit.
Yeah, but see, I don't understand that because then, the Tabori method where they use
Oh, yeah.
bamboo, that gets a lot of respect.
Mhm.
But it's like the real difference is you're doing it further away and you're doing a wee
Now, in fairness, they
Slappy
tend
thing with the
to
other.
they do tend to make their own needles and make their own ink as well, which I do respect that
Oh,
side of it.
I'd love to get into that
Yeah.
myself. Yeah.
I did look into trying to do it before, and then I just didn't find the time.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
No, time will come for that sort of thing. I think it's an art form in itself. You
Oh
know?
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Cool. Well, so do hand poke tattoos age differently, or is that just a myth pushed by machine artists?
I would say there's two sides to that. Say, like line work and stuff, or like kind of bold pieces. Like obviously, you can still do like traditional work with hand poke as well, which is
I've seen you do it. It's
yeah,
very good.
thank you. Which stands exactly the same test of time. I would say more so your shading might. I mean, I'd say it heals softer, is what I would
Really?
kind of imagine.
Okay.
So it just kind of it has a homey feel to it. Is like the nicest way that I can say. So it also depends on who's doing it, because for example, there are people who can do it pretty much exactly the same as machine, and then there's other people who prefer their style to look more sort of rustic and have that kind of feel about it.
Yeah. So it's each to their...
It is each to their own, so I wouldn't say there's like a definite like it heals differently. It can heal differently depending on how it's done.
So when you say about like line works and stuff, like how would you like what's the real secret behind getting clean, consistent lines without a machine? Like just hand poke method.
Now everyone is probably going to have their different kind of opinions on this. I have two. One which is one that basically everyone will share, and stretching. Stretching is the absolute most important part of hand poke. Obviously, stretching's important with machine tattoos as well. But when it comes to hand poke, say if the skin is not stretched enough and then it bounces back to whatever position it's in or whatever, and you have two dots, chances are they're not going to align properly if it's not stretched. So it kind of, you need to stretch it properly as well, because hand poke, it tends to, obviously it hurts less, but it tends to swell more. So speed is my other kind of point, which a lot of people kind of might not agree with, because obviously you think hand poke, you think really steady, intentional dots, and that 100% is what it is. But if you're trying to pull like a very straight line and you're trying to combat swelling, speed's like in it for you.
That must be so difficult to build that muscle memory up.
Yeah, so at the start I definitely was a lot slower, obviously, as anyone would be, but once I kind of you gain that confidence, you know where your needle's hitting. Like your hand just automatically does know where it's going. So I do think speed is actually quite an important part of it, for me anyway.
And have you ever mixed like a hand poke and machine in?
Yeah, I've done it with a couple of ones, which is quite nice. I know there was like a little I think it was a dragon coming out from flames that I did. So like obviously the lines and stuff I just did with machine, and then like the little like fiery bits with hand poke, and it added just like a nice wee soft contrast, which I really, really liked. It's nice for like little bits of like smoke or little bits of, just add a little bit of something.
Do you get clients that comment on the sound of it? Because it does sound a bit rough. Yeah.
So I don't like when the music cuts out, because then people actually notice it. Obviously when there's music playing and stuff, no one notices, but when the needle does come in the skin, you can kind of hear a little pop.
Yeah, like
yeah. So a lot of people, that kind of freaks some people out sometimes, which I 100% get, but it's not like loud enough unless you're like fully paying attention to it. You're not gonna like,
I mean, it's better than the coin machine.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's just like it just shakes the whole room.
Oh no, I was literally doing like an ear tattoo earlier, and she's like, oh my god, I can barely hear it. This is mental.
Class. So how do clients usually describe the experience afterwards? The pain, the energy?
So a lot of people, like I said kind of previously, people find it quite like a relaxing sort of an experience. They kind of just like zone out almost into like sort of like a meditative state, which is pretty cool, to be honest. The same, I think the sound as well. Obviously we went into, you kind of have that little bit of a poppy sound, which is a lot better than say your heavy coil that's really intimidating and that like drilling sound. And I had someone say previously they had gone to someone to get their back done. They went to this male artist. I'm pretty sure he uses coils. I could be wrong, maybe he doesn't, but he drilled into her.
Oh no way.
Like she was in so much pain. I'm not even sure if she got it finished or not, but she stopped getting tattooed for years because she just was traumatized.
Yeah.
She was like, I don't want to go back to that ever. And then she kind of came in, she was kind of trying to dip her toes back into the tattoo world because like she's a heavily tattooed woman, like she absolutely loves tattoos. That experience just completely ruined it for her, unfortunately. And she was like, oh, I'm kind of thinking about maybe getting something small here, but I am kind of nervous, or I've had a bad experience in the past. And I was like, well, do you want to give a Handpoke a go? People do tend to think it's a kind of a nicer experience. And she was like, okay, I'll give it a go. She loved it. And then she came back for so many more. Like, that just got her back into actually loving tattoos again. Like, she was like, this is so relaxing. This is just exactly what I needed to, like, actually get me back into getting tattoos. I think she actually got a couple of more machine ones from you, maybe, as well, after that. I'm not too sure. It might have been like a
Not
cover-up
after
version,
that.
was
You
it?
know, she got it before, but you know, I haven't really seen her.
Yeah.
I know she'd been in with you, which is pretty cool. Like, you
Yeah.
know, but I completely understand. You know, she
Oh,
doesn't
yeah.
want to
No, it was
get a
definitely.
machine tattoo. So
Yeah, but now I think that's kind of her Handpoke is her way forward for
Mhm.
kind of future work,
Yeah,
which is
that's
good.
awesome. Well, what about aftercare? Like, I'm assuming you treat it exactly the same way
Oh,
as
yeah.
you would, you know, heal a machine tattoo.
Yeah, so aftercare is exactly the same, but the nice thing is it heals up faster. So if you imagine with machine, the needles going into your skin like so many times per second. With Handpoke, it's more a couple of times per second. It's causing so much less trauma to the skin.
Mm-hmm.
It's less damaged and stuff like that. So
But it does swell slightly more.
it swells slightly more, but it's the same way. See, imagine you got like a teeny tiny cat scratch, or like you
Oh
got hit by like
yeah.
a bramble or something. It
Mhm.
like it swells in that sort of a way where it's just like a smaller injury tends to swell more, like localized swelling rather than like large swelling, if you get me.
That makes sense.
So it's more so like that. So that's what I mean when it swells more. It just swells in smaller areas, so it's more like just swells where you're actually trying to do it. But in terms of healing, usually, obviously, everyone's different, but most Handpoke tattoos would be fully healed in 2 weeks.
And have you seen like a rise in the Handpoke technique era? You know, like now.
I definitely have. Now online, but then again, it could just be who I'm following. Maybe they've always been about. But I've seen so many more artists kind of pop up that are kind of doing it now. There's a lot of people as well going into like photorealistic Handpoke, which is amazing. I've given it a go a couple of wee times. I do actually really, really enjoy it. Now I'm nowhere near world's best, but absolutely love that. I feel like it also did become slight kind of like a trend. That is kind of like slowly going away again, unfortunately. But I'm sure it will have its surge in like a couple of months or something again. Everything kind of goes in waves.
Yeah, they're very quick waves. We
Mm-hmm.
talked about that in one of the other episodes. But yeah, there's no real sort of trends anymore. You
No.
know, it's like, well, they come and go like very quick,
Yeah.
just as quick as the TikTok trend. You know.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. Well, how do you know you really got it? You know, as a handbook artist, you know, how do you know when you're ready, like to tackle, you know, bigger work and more detailed work, and how do you know you're
Honestly,
there?
it is just building that confidence. I will say as well, in terms of learning how to do Handpoke, you got to dive in. So, like, you know, when we're doing machine, we're practicing latex for months and months and months.
Mm-hmm.
I practiced on latex for a day. I went, no.
Why is that?
It's just as soon as the needle hits the latex, it goes blunt.
No.
Like, it's just,
I've noticed that with like machine tattooing as well, but that's just like after a while.
yeah,
For
but
each
no,
one.
it's essentially with Handpoke, you're like right away. And it's also like you're trying to like poke it in there and it's just like almost getting stuck in there. You have to like pull it out and it's just like a nightmare. It's never something that I recommend, but if you're kind of learning Handpoke, practice on yourself.
Oh, no way.
Which is not something that I want
Well,
to recommend, but
I mean, it's a rite of passage for any artist to tattoo themselves.
oh yeah, absolutely.
To experience the pain, to make sure you're doing everything correctly,
Mm-hmm.
and you're, you know, ins and outs of the aftercare as well,
Yeah.
you know, so it's really important, I think, you know.
But back to the actual question you asked me, I think just the faster you get is when you know you're ready to kind of go on to like larger pieces and stuff like that. Because like for example, I would say that I'm relatively quick at Handpoke. I remember there was one time like we were doing matching tattoos or something. I was doing one Handpoke and you're doing machine. We were basically finished at the same time. We're like, so I know sometimes it can take quite a bit longer, but in terms of if you know how much work that you can get done in a certain amount of time, that's when you're ready to go on to bigger pieces. It also just like depends on your style as well. You're gonna gradually just develop a style the same as everything. So yeah.
Well, you were talking about needles there. like on latex. But do you use like different needles for
Oh yeah,
handpoke, or
definitely. Yeah.
so you use the traditional ones, don't you? With
Do
for the they're not cartridges basically.
no, it's just the needle.
But
Which
what about the configurations? Do they differ much? From
configurations are basically exactly the same.
do you prefer long taper, short taper? Well, like medium
I
taper.
mean, I always prefer a long taper for pretty much anything. That's just me.
Yeah, just
Never.
more precise, more
Yeah,
precision, I
everyone
guess.
has their own sort of.
Yeah. Do you find those types of needles get blunt very easy?
I I would say yes and no. It really depends on the skin. Some people's skin, like for example, I'm sure you've probably gone into this before. Like
Oh yeah.
younger skin is a lot tougher and it will blunt
Mhm.
that needle a lot faster. So, for example, an 18-year-old, I'm gonna go through a fuck ton of needles. Like,
Yeah, yeah. Would you naturally just go through like say 2 or 3
well,
of the same needle
yeah, well, it also just depends on the design as well.
and the area of the body as well? I'm assuming
Yeah.
because like say around the knee, it would probably blunt a wee bit.
So you can obviously, and I'm assuming there are a lot of people that would just kind of keep going when they find that needle slightly blunter, which you technically can. But for me, if my dots aren't as precise as I would like to be, that needle's going in the bin. Like
Yeah,
I'm swapping that out. But
it's good that you can catch that and go for it.
yeah. I will say though, single needles for hand poke absolutely fucking pointless.
Really?
I
Why?
I got them just to try out because I was curious. Because like you want a single needle, you get one dot per dip. Like you dip it in your ink, you get one dot on that skin. You like it's not holding nothing.
So, see, when it comes to the actual like tools and equipment and materials that you use, realistically, it's everything's exactly the same. The only difference is you're swapping out the machine for a stick
Yeah, I mean
and the needles, I
most people would
suppose.
use like a tongue depressor. I just don't like the shape of it, so I use more like a pencil shaped stick.
Mm.
Which I just find easier for me. A lot of people would then also prefer like a thicker grip as well. Now you can get hand poke tools though as well. I don't know if
Not overly
they're not overly
necessary.
necessary. Obviously, I know there's some people that absolutely love them, and they kind of you can get ones that just have nice grips attached to them and stuff like that. You just slot the needle in. You don't have to worry about like your wrapping and stuff like that, which can be quite handy. But I do personally think they're a waste of money.
And can you do color, like color
Yeah,
hampo?
definitely. Yeah.
What about blending the colors?
Well, it's you're seeing with any sort of dot work, you do a gradient of shades.
Okay,
It's
uh,
yeah,
fair enough.
yeah.
Where do you see the handbook tattooing evolving in the next decade or so?
I can see a fall and a rise. Like I said, it is kind of slowing down a little bit, but then you're also getting people who are like getting full on master at it. So it is there's a balance in that. I can see a lot more people going into realism with it and kind of doing sort of smaller scale realism. I can see that's going to be like a huge thing for finger tattoos as well. It's always going to be your best option. It tends to stick
Oh,
that bit better.
what do you mean?
So viewers probably don't know this. Probably, finger tattoos are absolutely notorious for just falling out. You'll get it. You'll be back a week later because half of it's gone. It's completely
Yeah, we
disappeared.
warn every single customer
Every
about it
single one.
because it's so unpredictable. But at the same time, I've done finger tattoos.
Oh yeah,
People before and they've stayed perfectly fine.
yeah,
So
absolutely,
it's so dependent on the client's skin, their
definitely.
lifestyle. So many different little
I do find
things.
though it is handpoke tends to stick that bit better. First of all, you can control your depth a lot easier because when you're trying to do something so small, you're trying to stretch the skin and then you're trying to control your depth with your machine. Whereas with handpoke, you can kind of control that a little bit better. You can adapt for movement more and stuff like that, which is great. Also because it does heal up faster, chances are it's less likely to fall out. Just purely because it's not going to scab as much.
Yeah,
Gonna be a
there's
lot
less
easier to take
trauma
care of.
caused, so it's going to heal better.
Yeah, so I can see probably more of a rise of maybe even machine artists you turn into handpoke for finger tattoos, maybe potentially. I just a thought.
That's a good idea, actually.
I
Like
think
that.
that might be something that people might adapt to, especially given that the handpoke stigma is dying down more as well. I think also maybe more like large scale work as well, like back pieces fully handpoked and stuff.
Oh,
I've seen
would
quite a
that
few.
not take forever?
Depends.
Well, I mean, going back to the point you just made there.
Depends on the artist.
Yeah, it's
Depends on the
depends
artist.
on
Depends on the
design.
design. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Well, do you think you'd carry this on for the duration of your career then?
So I find that I'm doing a lot less of it recently. Not out of choice or anything, just to have less people kind of asking for it. But I have my regular clients that will only get Handpoke. They will not be touched by a machine. They're like, yes, you're my artist. Do not touch me with that machine ever. So I think until their like whole bodies are complete, it's gonna stick with me. I never really want to let it go. Like I have a soft spot for it. I can like it. I enjoy it. I enjoy that there's not many people around here that do it. I think there's maybe 3 of us in Northern Ireland. I think I could be wrong. Maybe if there's someone else out there. But yeah, I think that part of it has a little special feeling about it. So yeah, I think I'll always.
Do you want to do a lot more of it?
I do. Although I have realised that my hand cramps up a little bit more recently, so I'm like,
use a thicker grip. It helps so
I
much
just
with that.
like it.
Because I was finding that myself, with like thinner grips whenever I was like starting out. But as soon as I made my grip thicker, I was like, wow, it's so comfortable, so great. Try it.
No, I will. It does also just depend. Sometimes you'll be kind of doing something and you're not overly fond of the design that you're doing.
What are the designs that you want to do for a Handpoke? Realism, is it?
I mean, yeah. Maybe not quite the sort of like photorealism, but still like sort of realism I do quite enjoy. Yeah. Something
like movie scenes and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
And then just like ornamental work's just always quite nice, isn't it? Just like looks nice with Handpoke. I like doing a bit of that. But yeah, that sort of is.
And do you hope to see like more people doing it in the future?
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's fun. It hurts us. It's just a nice skill to have as well. Yeah.
Cool. Well, any final thoughts?
Come get a Handpoke tattoo.
Yes. Make Handpoke great again.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for tuning in again, for another episode of the Mavi podcast. And Katrina, it's great to have you.
Good. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, tune in for the next episode.